I know that, YouTube just released an awesome guide to how to podcast on YouTube and things like that. So it's very clear that video is becoming the thing. Like, if content is king, then clearly video content is kind of like the thing that's going to take over the throne, if you will. So
Yeah.
I think that there's something to be said about if you're trying to make success in the world of podcasting, you have to be a multifaceted content creator. You can't just rely on sitting behind the microphone anymore, which is terrible and awesome all at the same time, because you do have your people that are in their basements just recording into a microphone and they don't want to be on camera. But I think that what we're going to start to see is that the people who are willing to do multiple types of content are going to be the ones that are going to shine.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. And I think to that point, I think all of us as podcasters, we are just trying to build communities of people. And that's where I think TikTok and some of those platforms could be helpful. I don't know that if a podcast clip goes viral on TikTok, I don't know that that is going to benefit my podcast because a million people are going to go now view my podcast. I think the way in which TikTok will help my podcast is there's these people that are being exposed to my short form content that are starting to love me. And they're starting to ask themselves, how can I get more of Lloyd, or how can I watch something of Lloyd's that's more than 60 seconds? And so having that community transition from TikTok or Instagram to the podcast, where they can now get an hour guaranteed every single week, I think is the way in which those two entities will work together.
Okay, so let's pull that back for just a second. So if we're talking about the idea of needing to promote yourself on more than one platform, and we've already mentioned the fact that, you can't exactly get TikTok numbers to translate to direct downloads, would you say that the better way to go about getting, let's say, sponsorships for a podcast is to create like a new list of deliverables other than just a podcast mention?
Abs 100%. Such a great point. And just, I will say also, just a side note, just to backtrack, I do think that there is a way to get that correlation between TikTok and your podcast. I just think it requires a lot more intentionality than what people think. And so I've been doing these videos where I say, hey, I just interviewed a creator that has, they made $1 million from their YouTube page. Here's how they said they did it. And so the person starts explaining how they said they did it. And then it gets to a cliffhanger, and that's where the video ends. And so the only way you get the rest of that answer is to actually go to the podcast. And so I just don't think a lot of TikTokers are thinking about that level of intentionality when it comes to their podcast clips. That said, I will say, I think that I am starting to see more creators say, hey, instead of you paying me $200 for me to feature you on my podcast, how about you pay me $1,000 and I'll give you a TikTok shout out. I'll include you in my email and I will write a review for you or something, or a YouTube video. And so bundling, I do think that is going to be a great way for like creators to collaborate with brands, just because a lot of the creators I'm seeing start to do this have smaller audiences. So it's in their best interest to do so.